Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I thought I would do a quick video on Lasik. So I got Lasik about 8 days ago, and I think there's like a lot of information out there about Lasik, and there's a lot of things that I wish I would have known before I went into the procedure. Don't get me wrong, it's been absolutely amazing, and I cannot believe that I am like finally free of glasses and contacts, that I don't have to order those anymore, and it's been absolutely amazing. But there were definitely some little details that I would have liked to know before I went into the procedure, so wanted to just share you guys kind of from the very beginning, like why I decided to do it, through the consultation, the surgery, and how long it's taken me to recover. If you would like to know more about the whole LASIK procedure, just keep on watching. Before I go into anything, let me just preface this by saying that I am not a doctor. I did not go to medical school. I'm not an optometrist. I'm not a surgeon. So like, don't take medical advice from me. I'm just going to share with you guys what they told me, like what the instructions were that they told me, things I needed to follow. If you decide to go get LASIK, your instructions might be different. So I wanted to get LASIK for quite a few months now because I've had a couple of friends that have gotten it, and they all said it was like the best decisions of their life. The problem is, like, it's expensive. Like, I'm gonna be straight up with you. My LASIK surgery total for both eyes was $3,800, and that's not like a small chunk of change that you can just like whip out of your pocket. But the thing is, I'm only 25 years old, and when you add up the cost of glasses and contacts, so for me, I was wearing contacts that were technically like 2-week disposables, and I was wearing them for a month to like like double the amount of time I should be wearing. You can already tell I'm very trustworthy. But and then like the glasses every 2 years, you know, I do like to update my prescription every 2 years, therefore get new contacts, get new glasses. And for the price I was paying for my contacts and glasses, I would have made up that $3,800 in about 8 years, which depending on what you have, you may make the money back, you know, in a longer time or a shorter time. My husband has had the same glasses for like the last 10 years, so LASIK is not worth it for him because he's literally never gonna make that money back, besides for like the convenience factor of it, which I don't think you can put a dollar amount on. So yeah, that's it on the pricing. I did go to 2 different places for consultation, and the prices came out to be about the same. It only differed by like 100 or 2 per eye, which I think, you know, once you're spending that amount of money to get like a surgery done on your eyeballs, like, you should not be shopping around for what the cheapest price is. You should definitely go with, you know, your gut, like the reputation of the clinic, etc., how many surgeries that surgeon has done. You know, don't pick the cheapest one. If the cheapest one that you find happens to give you really good vibes and you really like that doctor and they've done a ton of procedures, like, by all means go for it, but don't let the price be like your deciding factor as to where you go for your LASIK. Okay, so on to the consultation piece of like the whole procedure. If you have astigmatism, so I have really bad astigmatism. My eyes were only measuring like -3 and -2.75, but I had terrible astigmatism. When you have astigmatism, there is like a special procedure that you have to follow before you go get your consultation. So depending on the place, so I went to 2 different places. One of them was like a smaller like boutique clinic where like the person that owned, the surgeon that owned the clinic was like the only surgeon there. He did all the procedures. That one told me I needed to be outside of contacts for 14 days prior to the consultation, whereas I also went to Lasikplus, which is a little bit bigger, and they're in quite a few states, and they only said 7 days before the consultation I needed to have my contacts out. The easiest way to do it is just schedule all of your consultations like 1 day apart, so that you don't, like, if you wear contacts and you don't like your glasses, like, I hated my glasses, like, they just didn't fit my face and they like slid down all the time, and so these 14 days were so miserable for me. So schedule all of your consultations like one right after the other. The reason being is astigmatism. So if you are wearing toric contact lenses, which you should be if you have astigmatism, it like weighs down certain parts of your eyeball to help your eyes stabilize and help correct for that astigmatism. And in order for them to get an accurate read on your eyeball, you need to like not have that weight on your eyeball for an X amount of time. That way they can take really accurate measurements of your eyes. And this is like very critical because the measurements they take, if you decide to do LASIK with them, they will use those measurements. So don't, if you guys heard a sneeze, my husband is in the other room and he just sneezed. Bless him. Yeah, like don't cut corners. If they say 14 days and that's what they want, just like do it. Don't cut corners on anything in this procedure because they are your eyeballs and there's no like going to the store and getting yourself a new set. I assume that if you don't have astigmatism, you can just go and have your consultation without getting your contacts out. I guess I didn't really ask about that. And the consultation was about 90 minutes long for both places. And basically they just like measure like everything there is about your eyes. Like they measure how thick your corneas are, they measure your astigmatism, they recheck like your vision. So if you even if you had gotten new contacts or glasses measured like the day before, they will still redo it to confirm because they want all of their own measurements. They'll measure like the pressure of your eyeball, like all these other fancy things that I don't know and cannot explain. When I went in for my consultations at the two places, so this was like one of the deciding factors of why I went with the one I went with, which was Lasikplus. So the surgeon themselves obviously they don't have time to do those exams with you, the consultation with you, and so it's always like the technicians or their assistants that are doing that. And at Lasikplus, the people that were working there were both places were very friendly, but the people at Lasikplus, I went through all the tests like very smoothly. Like I sat down, they measured, the results came up, they wrote them down onto the next machine. I think there was like 4 or 5 different machines that they used to measure various things with my eyeball. Everything went really smoothly, and they showed me like this little video about like what LASIK is and how it compares to the other like vision correction surgeries. Yeah, so the Lasikplus one went really smooth. The one I got at the boutique clinic, that I actually have a lot of friends that have gone there, and I'm sure surgery would have been great there. But the technician I had there just, and I want to give her the benefit of the doubt because machines do malfunction sometimes, but there were like half the machines that she had to retake my measurements with like 2 or 3 times. Like one she had to like reboot because it wasn't giving her anything. And that was one of the reasons why I went with Lasikplus over the smaller clinic, like purely because of like the vibes I was getting and the fact that like she didn't seem like she really knew what she was doing. Before you go into your surgery, they'll write you a prescription for 2 different eye drops. And one is an anti-inflammatory eye drop and an antibacterial eye drop. Those things you need to fill before you go into your surgery because you need to bring them to your surgery. They will tell you what to do with them. So onto like the surgery. So I should have probably clarified this earlier, but I had like the actual LASIK procedure, not PRK or LASIK with an E, which is less common now anyway. A lot of the places will offer both LASIK and PRK, and those are 2 different types of surgeries. They both correct for vision, and you should do the one that your doctor recommends. So for mine, because I had such bad astigmatism, they recommended LASIK at both places. And as far as I understand, and again, I'm not a doctor or an optometrist, I'm not an expert on the eyeball. When you have astigmatism or like nearsightedness, farsightedness, like it's like the shape of your eyeball that's causing it. And so, the general gist of both of them is they're using a laser to reshape your eyeball. With LASIK, the one that I got, they will actually like cut, like a layer of your corneas or the top layer of your cells, and they will make a flap. So it's like, when you open like a can of beans and you try not to cut all the way around so that the top doesn't fall in. So that's kind of what they do. And they like will flip that like layer of cells or however many layer of cells it is, and then they will laser, and then they will put the flap back down, and it kind of like acts as like your own band-aid. And PRK, I believe that they kind of just remove the top layer of the cell. You don't get that back, and they reshape your eyeball using that laser, and you go on your merry way. I think for certain situations, certain age groups, how your corneas measure, there's a variety of reasons why they would recommend one over the other. It's a long-term thing, right? Like you hope you're fixing your eyes, and it's a long-term thing. Most places, both the places that I went to, have like a lifetime guarantee. So if someday like I were to have a vision, change and would want LASIK again, if they deem that it is medically safe to do so, they will actually do it for me for free. So depending on which procedure you go with, that might affect that procedure later on. And so yeah, I didn't have an option. They just said if you're going to do it, it's going to have to be LASIK. And so that's the one I went with. So coming up to surgery day, there's a couple of things that you need to do after you schedule that appointment. So A couple of things that you want to keep in mind. So both places had said that if I were to do LASIK with them, because of my astigmatism, I would need to have my contacts out of my eyes again for 7 days. So 7 days prior to the surgery, for me, I had to be in glasses again. And I actually recommend, like, if you wear makeup on a daily basis, I recommend that you actually just stay away from makeup at least a couple days before the surgery, just so your eyes have a chance to just like flush, all of that out. I personally did my 7 days without contacts, and I did all 7 days without makeup, and to me it was like a great excuse to go about my day without makeup. So no complaints there. But yeah, so for me, I got there, and they kind of explained to me what's going to happen. You pay them before you go into your surgery. Remember to bring somebody with you, because you will not be able to drive home after the surgery. So bring somebody with you that like can get into your house, that can like put you to bed so you can take a nap after the surgery, because that's literally what they tell you to do. They gave me ibuprofen and Valium so that I'm like a little more relaxed when I go into that surgery, and hopefully the ibuprofen kicks in by the time I walk out of the surgery room. So the surgery procedure, like from the moment I laid down for the first time to like getting the flap cut, the laser, and then like standing back up, it was only about 2 minutes. Like, it's super fast. Yeah, so on top of like giving me ibuprofen and Valium, she also gives me a lot of things to take home. So for me, I got like 2 different eye drops, one that is preservative free and one that is normal. So these are just lubricating eye drops. I got hydro eye supplements, and I will go into these further when I go into like Aftercare. And then you'll get some cool eyewear afterwards, which I will also get into later. So then going into the surgery, so hopefully the surgeon will come in and talk to you prior to like literally cutting into your eyeballs, because they give you numbing drops before you go in. You actually don't feel any pain in your eyeballs. I did not feel any pain, but you do feel pressure. So I laid down in the chair where they were like going to cut and make that flap. So they do it one at a time, and they cover the other one. And it was pretty quick, and it's weird because like you can see them like literally stabbing your eyeball with something. So in order to like hold your eyes open, they kind of like tape it, and they actually take like this little ring, sucks onto your eyeballs. I don't know if you can tell, and I don't know if they're still here, but I have like the little red marks on the whites of my eyes, and they call it like Lasik hickey, because it was like a little suction ring that was on my eyeballs. Anyway, so the flap was pretty easy, and when they stood me up, my vision at that point was just, everything was very blurry. In 3 seconds, I was in this other chair, laid down with the laser. The laser was loud, so you can audibly hear it. This is gonna sound really unappetizing, but so they suction your eyeball again, keep it from moving, all of that good stuff. They'll double check the measurements that they had from your consultation. And when they turn that laser on, A, you can hear it, but B, you can also smell it. So you can smell something burning, and I can only assume that it's like my eyeballs burning. And it's not the most pleasant smell. It's like, you burn something on the barbecue. In some places, there's like, viewing rooms or viewing screens where like they zoom in on the eyeball. My husband was there, so he was the one driving me home, and he is very squeamish, so he just about like passed out when he was watching my surgery. So, maybe don't bring somebody squeamish, or ask them not to watch because you don't want your ride passing out. Yeah, so during that point when they like flip the flap up and are lasering your eye, so for me, my vision went dark, so I couldn't see anything, and then it came right back when he was like putting the flap back down on my eye, squeezing water into my eye, and like kind of squeegeeing my little flap back into place on both eyes. I think that portion is like different for some people. Some people maintain vision through the whole thing, some people don't. Anyway, so after that whole deal, they walked me into, an examination room. I probably sat there for about 5 minutes before the surgeon came in and examined my eyeballs again, just to make sure that everything was put back into place correctly. So right away, they give you sunglasses. So at the place I was at, so at Lasikplus, they prefer that you wear the ones that they give you, because it specifically like has a really thick band on the side, and they want to protect your eyes, especially when you're driving home. You're supposed to be keeping your eyes closed, but it just helps keep any dirt or like the AC from when it's running from like going into your eyes. So after I got home, he put me straight to bed. So the instructions that I was given was, first thing when I get home is to sleep for like, I want to say 4 to 6 hours is what they told me. I had my surgery at like 2 p.m. which really turned into like 3 p.m. because I was late. And so by the time I got home, it was like 5 p.m. and I knew that, okay, if I slept 4 hours, it was going to be 9 p.m. and then I was just going to go back to sleep. So I love to sleep, so that is not a problem with me. But I actually found it very difficult to sleep, at least for the first 2 hours. So another very cool piece of eyewear you get is these goggles. So mine look like this. Depending on where you go, it'll look different. And you're supposed to sleep in these. I was supposed to wear those for a whole week at night when I'm sleeping. The reason is, you know, your eyes are still healing. They do not want you rubbing your eyes. That is like the one no-no after you get LASIK done is do not rub your eyes. Like, try not to touch them. These goggles are super annoying to sleep in. Like, I wish I would have known about these before I got LASIK. I tried to take my 4-hour nap after the surgery, but for the first 2 hours, I could not go to sleep because the numbing eye drops were starting to wear off, and I wouldn't say it was like painful, but it was like kind of stinging a little bit, and it just felt like, you know, I was out in the desert on a very windy day and like I had sand in my eyes. So I kind of like struggled through about 2 hours of that before I was able to actually fall asleep. I slept for another 2 hours, which then put me at 9 p.m. I got up and sort of started on my eye drops, and then an hour later went to sleep and slept all the way through to the morning. These are the Hydro Eye dietary supplements that I got from my surgeon. These are labeled as dietary supplements. It's not labeled as a medication, but it's supposed to kind of help your body naturally produce more moisture, more tears for your eyes. And I'm taking them because my surgeon told me to, but it is a dietary supplement, so, you know, take that as you will. Okay, so for eye drops, again, these are the instructions I received from my surgeon. So I had 2 different eye drops. So one of them was pink and one of them was tan. So pink was anti-inflammatory and tan was antibacterial. And the pink one I was supposed to shake and use twice a day, and the tan one I was supposed to use 4 times a day. So at the meal times, I was usually using one or both of these eye drops, and you should definitely keep up with them. Yes, so those are your medicating eye drops, and then you have your re-wetting eye drops or lubricating eye drops, and you start with the preservative-free kind, or I guess I started with the preservative-free kind, and these are like really cool. So they come in like little bottles like this. And, you know, you kind of just rip them apart, you tear off the top, and you use a couple drops of it. So those 3 were like for the first 7 days. I had X amount of instructions to be using them at X times a day. And after 7 days, so now I am on these, which are the regular eye drops. These are 4 times a day right now for me. I don't feel like I need them 4 times a day, actually. So I would say the first 2 days, vision was definitely still a little bit blurry and a little bit hazy. It was good enough to drive, but it wasn't perfect, and you're very sensitive to light after you get LASIK, so always wear your sunglasses like everywhere you go. So yeah, I would say like day 3 and 4 was when I started noticing like, man, like this is awesome, everything is getting clearer, and now like day 7, day 8, it really feels like everything is back to normal, being like I am now seeing better than 2020, and my eyes don't feel as dry anymore, they're not really as irritated as it was. And so for the first 7 days, they also say no eye makeup, no hot tubs, no swimming, stuff like that. No like excessive working out where like you would be dripping sweat into your eyeballs, which, you know, since their instructions were take a nap, don't work out, don't wear makeup, it was absolutely awesome like 7 days after the surgery. Now that I'm on day 8, I'm allowed to wear makeup again, so I'm filming this video. So yeah, I feel like I have rambled on for like an incredible amount of minutes. I hope this was really helpful for you guys, that I tried to go through like every single detail there was throughout my experience, my procedures. I absolutely love having it done. I think it's, if you have the money to pay for it, I think it's one of the best decisions ever. Anyway, you guys, I hope this was super helpful. Let me know if you have gotten LASIK done recently or if you're thinking about doing it. And if you have any questions about my experience, please ask me in the comments down below, and hit the subscribe button while you're there. It is also down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!